All right, we are live. Welcome to the early watch. No, wait, that's not right. Welcome to Hit or
Caliber
Miss.
Corner.
No, that's not right either. Yes,
We
that's right.
we don't
It's
even know what's
Caliber
going
Corner.
on.
I have no idea what's going on. I've been up since 5. Now I know what it feels like to be Tony. Yeah. Welcome to Caliber Corner this morning, guys. I Night Strike am taking over for Travis because Travis decided to leave us all and run his ass down to Dallas and hang out in Dallas because he got tired of Tornado Alley. So
I ain't seen no damn tornadoes.
I haven't seen any either. But Travis, apparently the people go and chase those tornadoes up there. Anyways,
I
uh,
did that for years.
I have no idea what we're talking about today. I think we're talking about what was it? Security, gun security,
Gun security.
safes, that kind of thing. So let's introduce the panelists before we get started. So they're all very late. I was waiting on their asses. So,
Excuse me.
but except Tony. Tony was here on time.
Some of us have jobs.
So there's AWAG. What's going on, AWAG?
Hello. Thank you for the invite.
All right.
I didn't know what we were talking about today, so I'm kind of a blank slate right now.
You've got a gun safe, or you secure your guns, right?
Correct.
Okay, then you're good. And then
Well,
we
if
got
you're
midnight
Slate,
range.
don't know what we're talking.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for having me, even if you're going to be a jerk.
Well,
If you're
I'm
blank
me.
slate and don't know what we're talking about, man, then you're a perfect candidate for early watch because that's the way we go.
Fly by the seat of your pants, right?
Yeah, early watch. 8 hours of talking about nothing.
It's the best stuff to talk about, though.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, the only person who showed up on time, Tony.
That's because I'm old and I don't fucking sleep anymore. So good morning, people.
Yeah, this must be what you feel like then. uh, anyways, so yes, today we're going to be talking about, I guess, gun safes, gun safety, securing your firearms, that kind of thing. So, why don't we go through the room and have everybody tell us if they've got a gun safe, what kind of gun safe they have, and how they secure their firearms. So, AWAC, simple
Uh,
question. How do you do it?
I got a gun safe. It's actually my dad's, because he keeps all his stuff in there. Normally I have those what are they called? Like tactical walls stuff that I basically put around my room, or I use like underneath of my drawers. There's a big open space, so I just kind of store stuff there. But when it comes to like my really old firearms, like I know Mosins aren't really that kind of like pristine, desirable guns that you don't want destroyed or anything, but they're still a piece of history. I see it, so I keep them in a fireproof safe. So in case there is a fire in my house, I don't freaking lose a piece of history. Sound good?
All right. All right. That's more of an answer than I was looking for. Awesome.
Patrick,
Okay.
Good job.
Patrick's out there in the Caliber Corner chat saying that they have tornadoes in Dallas, so we won't be much more safe.
Well, what's the thought that counts, right? Travis wants to feel safe. So, all right. So, Midnight Range TM, otherwise known as the other Travis slash
That's right.
Travis M.
That's right.
How do you secure your firearms, and if you have a safe, what kind of safety?
I do have a safe. I have a small one. It's like a 10 gun, nothing big right now. Old school dial, which I don't love, but it does the job for right now. And I believe it's a redhead from Bass Pro. So it's okay. It does its job for right now, but I'm definitely outgrowing it. I have already outgrown it by far. So
All right. Do you do anything special when you secure your guns, or
no, not particularly. No, just in the safe. I keep one of the rechargeable stack-on desiccant. I don't want to say packs, but desiccant things in there. I don't have a goldenrod or anything like that, but the desiccant, the rechargeable ones work really good. You just plug them in, they dry out, you put them back in there. They work great.
Awesome. All right. Tony, how do you secure your firearms?
With fear and intimidation.
Okay,
with other firearms.
Okay. let me rephrase the question. One, with other firearms, and two, to keep away from the little ones in your house.
Honestly, I do not go down the gun safe route. I don't believe in them. If you want a gun safe, that's fine, but I don't want one. I do lock my handguns in a cabinet unless I'm carrying them.
Okay.
Because I keep my guns loaded here, and I do have little kids. All of my long guns are out, but there's no ammo or anything, with the exception of stuff I've got stuck away where I could put a magazine in my 30-06. But no, I keep my guns out of reach. And then the handguns, because they're easy enough for the little ones to pick up, I do lock them up except for the ones I'm carrying.
Now, do you keep the ammo locked up in a cabinet too?
Yes, with the exception of the carry ammo. I have sitting here on my desk in front of me, I have an extra magazine for my Smith & Wesson plus a couple of speed loaders for my 629.
Okay. All right.
But there again, I'm in the garage. I'm not in the house. So there's no guns in the house unless I'm in there carrying one. Which also lets me have a little bit more freedom with not worrying about the kids, because they're not allowed in this garage without somebody being in here with them.
All right. Well, I'm a little more antsy about this, but I'm going to go ahead and answer this anyways because everybody else went through the room. So here's how I secure my guns. And contrary to popular belief, I don't just leave them lying out and just lock a door. While for some people that's great security, most people not great security. Normally what I do is I actually have a trigger lock, and I know the trigger lock doesn't help. It gives me peace of mind. But I have trigger locks on all my guns, and I have them in I've got a stack-on security cabinet because I felt that's all I really could afford, and that's all I really needed.
I don't give a shit if you got a stack on or Liberty. It doesn't freaking matter.
They're going to get into it one way or another if they try hard enough. So
the basic idea of a gun safe, aside from fire protection, is to keep prying little hands off the guns.
Yeah, I've got
criminal once in that safe, he's going to get in. It don't matter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whether he has to bring a grinder with him or plasma cutting torch, he will cut that damn thing open. But
I got a locking metal cabinet on my wall, which is just 10. I mean, it's like a medicine cabinet, only it's 3 doors instead of 2.
I just have one of those stack-on security cabinets, which you can get at Walmart, but it's like the 24 gun security cabinet.
Yeah,
it works enough for me.
Yeah, I think one of the things you got to look into, you got to remember too, is whatever you think you're going to buy one twice as big.
Yeah, that's what I did. I only had like 5 or 6, 4 or 5 guns when I bought the security cabinet. Then I got more.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I got the bigger cabinet because it was like $50 difference between getting getting like the 18 and getting the 24. So I went and got the 24, and I ended up getting more guns. So I think I ended up doing better getting the 24.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be honest with you. I'm far less worried about my guns being secure than I am the 15, 20 pounds of gunpowder and 10, 11,000 rounds of ammo in the event of a fire.
Well, believe it or not, and this is probably not the best thing to say, but I keep most of my ammo, if not all of it, in more than a couple ammo cans. But the thing is, they're also in the security cabinet. So if a fire happens, well, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge.
Well, I want to throw something out there that I just discovered the other day, and I don't remember where I read it, but for those of us who reload and have powder on hand, you do not want to store that in a vault.
Right, absolutely. You just turn it into a bomb.
Yeah, you're going to turn it into a great big friggin' bomb. You want to store it in a little cabinet that'll come apart if the powder goes.
Yeah, because powder, a lot of people don't understand too, powder burns, it doesn't explode. So, that's something, you don't want to basically build a bomb in your basement,
Absolutely.
Because I was going to buy one of them freaking vaults and use it as a powder magazine until I ran across that little tidbit of information. Maybe that ain't such a damn good idea after all.
Yeah, it's not something you necessarily think about.
Now, don't get me wrong. I may have one or two guns lying around on maybe a nightstand or something for defense. But that's, I'm not trying to intentionally be unsafe. I'm just trying to keep myself protected.
Do you have kids in the house?
No.
Well, there you go.
No. Now, I realize that you can't do that because you have kids. So.
But all my long guns are out and within reach of me right now. Huh. There's 10 or 11 of them. Most of them are in zipped up cases, but the kids don't bother them. They know better.
What about you, AWAC? AWAC, you still there? All right, he's off dealing with the Supra.
Oh, no, so, sorry. I'm dealing with ducks, actually. Sorry, I had it muted. They were making a bunch of noise. Basically, what I do is, I heard you guys talking about the powder and stuff, I keep all my ammo and guns like a good 7 or 8 feet apart from each other. Like, on one side of my garage is my gun safe, and then the other side is where all my ammo and stuff is. So I kind of keep that separate. My powder storage is in it's in a metal cabinet, but it's like a really super thin metal cabinet with like holes everywhere because it's it's like one of those diamond, what is it? It's almost like a grill front end, so it's all open. But I have it lined with gypsum, so in case there is a fire, that gypsum absorbs water in the area, and then if it gets high temperatures, it'll release that water, so it prolongs the time that it would take for it to ignite. So, but I do occasionally have 1 or 2 guns on hand somewhere around my house while I'm home. But as soon as I leave the house, I either do one of 2 things: is I take the firing pins out of the firearm, or if I'm in a rush, I'll just basically, well, especially with my Mosins that I have lying around, I'll take the bolt face out. So if somebody tries to use it, it'll just basically throw hot gases in their face if they do come across it. And I'm not stupid enough to use it. So.
Okay.
Well, let's put it out there right up front that this conversation is completely different if you have kids in the house or you don't.
Yeah, I don't have kids in my house. I mean, no, I don't have any type of children that don't know about guns around my house or even in my house or anything. So it's
Well, here's another question. Since you mentioned this, so you take the bolts out of your bolt actions, and you take the firing pins out of your guns. Now, I have to ask: do you how are you able to differentiate between the different firing pins? Do you mark them down so you know what's what, or do you have like a box or something you put them in where you can differentiate between them?
well, with my firearms, they're pretty much self-explanatory, or how you look at them, because an AK firing pin looks completely different than a AR-15 firing pin, and I don't really have many slight variations between different firearms. I usually only have one or two of each type of firearm. Now,
Okay.
when it comes to the Mosins, I just take the bolt face off because it's pretty easy. So if somebody even manages to, it's basically, instead of disabling the gun, it's basically sabotaging the gun in a sense.
Okay. All right. Well, Travis M.
Yeah, what's up?
So, what do you keep a gun out for security or something? At home for
We
self-defense.
we do keep one. I keep my shotgun out. The handguns and stuff go away for the most part, and then we keep it in an upstairs room by itself that we can get to it if something goes bump in the night. I'm not. We have it in a spot where we're not going to be going towards trouble. If there is trouble, we'll be going. So we can get to it, and that's it. That's what we have out.
Okay. Now, here's a question.
Yeah.
Because Tony brought this up. Do you have little ones in the house?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we do. We have a small son.
Okay. And how do you keep? How do you? What do you do to prevent them getting a hold of said firearms?
It's not loaded. The ammo is separate, up and away, and in a locked box, in a lockbox, in
Okay.
a different in a different spot. I mean, not in a different. Well, technically, it's in a closet, but yeah, it's away.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, see, the way I do it is I just carry all the time.
Yeah, and that's actually something else that that does happen a lot too. Is you just kind of have it on you, especially if you get something new and you have a new holster. It's kind of you want to break it in anyway. So I know I did that for quite a while when I got my new holster. Is I just wore the damn thing all the time.
All right. Well, like AWAG, I don't have any children in my house, so I keep most of my ammo stored with with most of my guns. But I will, as I said before, I do have one or two guns out just for protection when I'm around. But if I have to leave the house, I normally put everything away and put put trigger locks on the rifles or handguns, and put them in the security cabinet. It doesn't mean if I'm leaving the house, I'm not going to take something with me, because Castle Doctrine does extend to the car. I do bring my usually I bring the 1911 with me because 45 ACP all the way. And then we have Squib.
Hey,
Squib finally showed up.
yeah, good morning. Thanks for the wake up call. I was sleeping in this morning and my phone beeped. So you're my alarm clock today.
Okay, well,
She called him earlier.
Yeah, nah, I don't have that much work to do today, so I was able to sleep in. I didn't have to get up bright and early and go to work. My internet was fading in and out last night, so I think I typed in the chat asking if you were really going to do Caliber Corner today, but then it crashed and I never got an answer back, so I don't even know if you saw that.
I didn't see it at all.
Yeah, it means it probably didn't go through. It was, even though I've got cable internet, it's going in and out, so I don't know what's up with that.
You do sound a little.
That much damned attention to what's going on either. So it may have made it. He just didn't see it.
All right, I heard you talking about kids in a house with guns. I got kids, I got guns. What's up?
Okay, so I'm trying to keep it PG-13 for Travis because that's how he does Caliber Corner. So we're talking about gun safes, securing your guns, and whether you keep any guns, whether you have any guns out for protection when you're at home, and do you put them away when you leave, that kind of thing. That's what we're talking about. So I'm going to ask you, Squib, since you showed up late. How do you secure your firearms? Do you have a safe? And if so, what kind?
I've got 4 safes.
Overachiever.
No, I don't want one big honking gigantic vault, which would probably be better. I keep buying guns, I keep buying safes. So.
Okay. Well, how do you secure them?
They're in the safes all the time. They're locked up, and I'm the only person in the house who has a combination to the 3 big safes. My wife has a combination to the small safe. The small safe, only one handgun at a time in there. I mean, there's so much other junk in there. There's just not enough room, and that one's the one that's in our bedroom. So if I need to get a handgun, I say a bump in the middle of the night, it's right there, and it's one of those illuminated keypads, so I don't have to turn on lights or anything. But if somebody was downstairs, they could hear beep, 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 beep. So, but otherwise, the guns stay locked up all the time unless I'm cleaning them or doing some sort of work on them or something like that. Or, I mean, if the kids ask to see the guns, I'll open up the safes and take out whatever they want to see, and they know to safety check them. They, even though they've seen me open the bolt and make sure it's empty, they do the same thing, and they know all that stuff. They know don't just go in there. One time, I had been doing some work on a bunch of guns and cleaning them and whatnot, and I had been opening and closing the safes over the course of a 3-day weekend, and on the 3rd day, my youngest son just came downstairs and just pulled the gun right out of the safe and safety checked it and started fiddling with it. And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, this is the same one I was looking at yesterday." I said, "You don't, even if you've been doing this, you don't just go in there and help yourself. You always ask." And since then, he's never done anything like that. So my kids know. I don't have to yell at them. I don't have to be mean. They know, not to mess with that stuff. But anytime they want to see a gun, I'll let them see it. The curiosity is totally gone.
Yeah. Well, that's more of a manners thing when they just went in and just pulled it out without asking. Because it's like you don't go and take something, you don't pick something up of somebody else's without asking first. That's just proper manners.
Well, I think that if my kids were at somebody else's house and they had a gun laying on the counter in the kitchen or whatever, that they wouldn't pick it up. If anything, they'd probably start identifying it, or they might caliber shame them or something like that. I don't, they might ask to see it, but if they did, they'd probably, if the adult didn't clear it, my kids would probably clear the thing. So.
And then that would make the adult embarrassed.
Yeah.
I could just see that one. What, you thinking 380 is going to do the job? What's the matter with you?
Tony, that almost happened. That almost happened with a 380. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what
brand
of safes did you say you had?
Let's see. The first one I got, my oldest one is the biggest one. I can't think of the name of the company, but if you Google them, they're in Long Island, California. There's a plug for you, knives. And that one is, it's got a dial lock. So, and then after that, the next 2 I got at Bass Pro Shop. One's a Redhead, one's a Remington, so they're probably both made by the same company. And those were, every now and then they had the sales with the specials, and they're $100, $200 off. Those were those. And then the last one is a Century safe. I had to order it because it was, I think I got it through Home Depot, but there wasn't one that they normally keep in the store, so I had to order it. It's supposed to be fire resistant and flood resistant. So it's not that big, but it's got the digital keypad that lights up, and then when the door opens, there's a light inside the hinge of the door, so it'll illuminate the inside of the safe. And you can fit you can fit a Desert Eagle on the top shelf. I mean, it'll fit any handgun. So
Yeah, even though I got one of those, stack on security cabinets, but the issue is, I set up the shelves in it, and I literally could put a whole, those racks where you can just put your handguns on. I can put a couple of those on each shelf. There's enough space in there.
Let's take this conversation a little different direction for a second.
Okay.
Why do you have a safe?
The main reason I have the safe is for if something happens while we're gone. I'm always worried the house will burn down, even though it's not a tinderbox, and I don't live out in the middle of Oklahoma where apparently there's a brush fire every 3 seconds. I guess I've always been the one that's thinking that when I'm not at home or something, there's nobody here to put out the fire, even though we've got a ton of firefighters in the township and the response time would be minutes. We actually take care of a nearby city. They lost their budget, so they pay us to go down there. That's how many firefighters we have here. So
you're in Illinois. That sounds a familiar theme around here.
And I got them for fire protection and for theft protection. Now, if somebody wants to bring in a couple guys and some dollies and some heavy equipment and prop doors open and things like that and bring a pickup truck, they could get the safes out the door. But that's going to be loud. It's going to take time. As much traffic as we have up and down the street, it's going to be seen. I got neighbors that are home all the time. That's, they're going to get more likely caught.
Now, I want to make clear that I'm not safe shaming. That's not the point. I'm going somewhere with this. Why I want all the guys to answer why they choose to get a safe or not.
But I will say that I've been told that those fireproof or fire-resistant safes are not as fire-resistant as you would think. I've been told that smoke does get in there, water does get in there when they put out the house, stuff like that. Things will get damaged. That's why I have insurance on my guns. And I do try to scan I've got a lot of documents in my safes too. I mean, it's more than just guns in there. So I do try to scan those and have digital copies. And I think an SD card will survive smoke, things like that. So, and I've got redundant copies in different safes too. But so the safes, I got them not just to protect the house in the event of a fire or to make it a theft deterrent, because anything in the house could be stolen, or a car, or anything if a thief is that determined. But it was for more peace of mind and security. It really wasn't so the kids don't get in them. When the kids were younger, it was more for that. But as they get older, it's not really an issue. And if somebody doesn't have kids in the house and they've got a closet full of guns, that's their prerogative. It's their home. They pay taxes. Do whatever you want. But it was more for protecting things when I was gone, or protecting from theft or fire, or being able to protect stuff other than just guns.
All right. One of the Travises, the one that's here.
You guy.
Man, I ain't looking at the freaking room, so I don't know who's here.
Yeah, that's cool. We got it because of my son. We were I don't know if he was born yet or not when we got it, but we knew he was on the way at least. And I grew up, with guns in closets. Sometimes even the ammo on the top shelf with or a gun cabinet that necessarily wasn't locked. But we grew up with them. We knew they weren't toys. So it was never an issue with us, but I know a lot of families it is, and a lot of kids it is. So that's where we got ours. Yeah, just enough to, just enough room for now. I want to upgrade or get a second one like other people have done. We went with a safe and not a cabinet just for, the heft of it, so that it's less likely for one dude to be able to drag it out of my house if they'd want to, So, it's big enough that, one guy would have trouble with it, I think. So that's why
that's just it. When they're full and the door is shut, they're heavy. I mean, I have to take the doors off of mine in order to be able to move them empty.
Yeah.
And then once you start adding in all that weight, it makes it even harder to move. If you have them in a garage or something like that where you can drill into a concrete floor and anchor them with bolts, they're not coming out. But
They're not
yeah,
going anywhere.
yeah, anybody who's really determined can steal one and get it. I mean, the really big ones, you would need a whole crew and stuff to move a piano. But the
And
bigger and heavier they are, the more theft resistant they are. Just weigh them down with guns. That's all.
Yeah, and that's the only reason I went with a safe and not a cabinet is for that. I mean, I'm totally fine with people having a cabinet for kids. I mean, I don't think it's any less safe as far as little fingers go. Your kid's not gonna, I don't think, go and pull the hinges out of it and try and get into it. You know what I mean? So, that's what I was looking at. Yep.
Well, with security cabinets, the hinges are on the inside, so there's no trying to pull the hinges out so you can take the door off.
Yeah. Not the stuff when I was a kid.
well, they've changed since then. Just FYI.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm kind of more one who would like to build a hiding place instead of having a safe. Like where I'm at, I built a loft above my head here so I could store stuff without having to climb a ladder and put it in the attic, but yet still have it off the floor. And the bottom of this thing is open, it's wood frame. And I was thinking about making a plywood door for it, and I could put long guns up in that. And they would just be completely out of sight and probably not somewhere anybody would even think to look.
Well, I would suggest going around your house and looking at your drawers and stuff, like your cabinets. Because usually with your IKEA furniture, especially if you have like drawers that are usually your plyboard type and basically your cheap furniture, if you take the drawers out, there's usually space underneath the very bottom drawer that you can stick stuff. I mean, I can hide a full rifle underneath of my drawer set with a few boxes of ammo.
That ain't a bad idea either. I'm probably not going to do anything here because, for one, I'm not that concerned about security. Because for some reason, everybody that knows me is afraid of me. And
gee, I wonder why where they would get that from.
I have no idea. I've never done anything to anybody in my life. And like I say, I don't keep my guns in the house. The only time there's a gun in the house is if I'm carrying it. So
maybe you just look mean, Tony. I don't know.
That's what the wife says because they don't smile much.
I've never seen Tony, and I wouldn't mess with him.
Well, I can't blame Tony for not smiling much.
Christ, I lived through 8 years of Obama and threat of Hillary. There's still not
a lot to smile about.
Not a lot to smile about. She didn't win. That's a good thing, but
it's upside right there. So, Squib, why did you get safes?
I thought we already went over that.
Squib was the first one to answer.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, because I was concerned about something would happen if I'm not at home for theft and fire protection.
Right.
But I will say this. I'm glad that you call your security cabinet a security cabinet and not a safe, because some people buy them and think they're safes, and there's nothing wrong with security cabinets. It depends on what level of security you're looking for. If you're just looking to lock them up, and it's more of a theft deterrence while you're home, or keep kids out of them, or if you can tuck it under a bed and maybe a thief's not going to look in there if there is a home invasion and you're not there, that's what they're good for. I haven't wanted a security cabinet only because I want that fire resistance in the safe. And even though it's not a guarantee that fire will not damage paperwork or guns or anything in the safe, I guess I just because I'm paying the extra for the fire resistance, or in my big safe, the double fire resistance that I had added to it. I feel better, and it's all about how I feel. It's not about whether or not it actually works. But I will say this. I was looking at a security cabinet that slides underneath the bed, a flat rectangular one, and that one actually would not be a bad choice for me because of the limited amount of storage in my home. And in that case, for somebody like me, it's the fire resistance is totally out right there. It's whatever I would put in there is something that I guess I wouldn't care if it got damaged in a fire. I'd just make an insurance claim.
I would like to jump in here and fuck up your whole thought process on this. If your home is in a fire and you have your guns in a fire resistant safe, chances are they're going to be destroyed anyway.
Yeah.
Because of the heat. Metal do not like heat.
That's why I say it's all about how I feel. It's not about whether or not it actually works. It's that I got that, that feel good feeling. In the actuality, I may have to make an insurance claim if it ever come down to that. I'm actually more worried about the documents and stuff in my safes than I am my guns. There's only maybe one gun I've got that's not replaceable. Other than that, the rest of them, they're all just objects. I can replace them. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one. I don't own a gun that's not replaceable at this point.
That brings me to the next question. How do you? I don't have mine insured. I'm not sure where to go and how do you have it set up to where if you lose your guns in a fire or whatnot,
a rider on homeowners insurance is the way to go.
Is that the way to do it? Just do
Yes,
it on
it is,
homeowners
because
insurance?
You can do it for just $1 or $2 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
per
know
gun.
about. Yeah. The more stuff you have, the more expensive it is. I didn't know about this until somebody on Gun Channels mentioned it, and then I started doing some research, and I started asking other people, and learned, I don't have adequate insurance. So I talked to my renter's insurance agent, and he said, yeah, the safes are covered, your reload supplies are covered, all your boxes full of spare parts, your slings, your cases, your your ammunition, all that stuff is covered. The safes themselves are covered. What's inside? No guns. Your paperwork's covered. Your family heirlooms in there are covered, but not your guns, not at all. So then I looked into the NRA insurance, and that's crap. So forget that. And so then I had to start doing research into a rider, and I'd never heard of a rider before until somebody online had mentioned it. So I appreciate the fact that I was able to use this as a networking thing to talk to other gun owners.
I stumbled into the rider thing back when I had guns before, back in the early 90s, and I had a lot of money tied up in hunting rifles. I had like 6 Remington 700 BDLs that were, at the time, they were fairly top of the line. And I was talking to my insurance agent, and he said, those aren't covered at all. He said, we don't cover guns on homeowners. So if you want that, you've got to get specific insurance on them. I'm like, oh, great. This guy's fixing to bend me over and jab me a good one. And I think at the time to cover $25,000 was $25 a year. Or it might have been $25 every 6 months, whatever my insurance was due.
So how do you
really that bad? But this is something you check with. So the first thing I did was my existing renter's insurance that I've had for 10 years. That is just a holdover from when we used to have a house. We used the same company we had homeowners through because they're a good company. I can't remember what it was. They wouldn't insure the guns, something like that. So then I went to my automotive company that I got auto insurance for a different company, and they're always asking me to bundle in renter's insurance, and the rates are way too high. So I said,
Progressive?
Yeah, Progressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got great on the car, or on the car, the truck, and the motorcycle, but on the renters, forget it. And I've tried about every other year, and it just they don't even come close. Well, they do insure guns. They have a max $6,000 limit. Period. No exceptions. Well, that ain't gonna cut it. So I went back to my insurance agent and I said, okay, we can't use the existing renter's insurance. My car insurance company is useless. What do we got? And he goes, well, how many guns are we talking about? I'm like, man, I ain't never counted them. So he says, well, figure out what they're worth. And I said, look, I'm going to use Gun Broker if I don't know what I paid for them or what the replacement cost is if I went to a store or show or something like that. He says, that's fine. Just come up with some values and make a list. Well, I made a list, and I decided what I do is I take pictures of all of them. So I'm putting them on the reload bench on the stand. I've got one of them little MTM stands like what Travis has got. And I took pictures of the serial numbers and any other markings on them because a lot of them are MilSerp and they've got multiple numbers on there. And that was a pain in the butt. I never ever stopped to do that. I'd take pictures of them after I bought them, but that was kind of a pain. And then dragging them out, pulling all the gun socks off, all this garbage. And after a while, I was like, dang, I never really counted these. And I had more stuff than I thought. I even had some stuff I forgot about. So after I did up a spreadsheet, Maggie would be proud, and put all the serial numbers and all that and figured out what they're worth, I gave him a grand total. And at first he thought that was a lot. And then he thought about it some. And he goes, no, I guess that's not a lot of money. So he says, let me go back to the insurance company with this and find out what it is. And I can't remember how much the total value is. I suppose I could dig up the spreadsheet somewhere, but I think I pay an extra $79 a year for all of them to be covered. But the deal is they want a list of everything I have. I gave him the list. I talked to G-Webs about it, and he says he just gives a total replacement value, and that's all they want. His insurance does not need a list, an itemized list with serial numbers. So I don't know, Night Strike, for you, that might not be something you want to do because I know you don't like being on lists.
Paranoid.
Yes. No. Come on. Let's be civil here. I'm not opposed to going insuring anything. I don't have insurance on my guns because, well, I only have I don't think I have any more than 10. All in all, so it's I don't think it'd be beneficial for me.
Let's say them 10 guns are worth $300 a piece. Could you drop $3,000 to replace them today?
Good point. I'll go look at getting insurance.
I've probably got 10,000 in guns here right now. More or less. It's going to be right in there somewhere because hell, every fucking pistol I got or every revolver I got's $700 fucking dollars. It was, I don't remember having to give them. Yeah, I did have to give serial numbers on everything. And they wanted me to have pictures too to prove that I owned them. Or I could turn in my bills of sale because I keep every freaking bill of sale when I buy one, or receipt, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I've got every receipt from everyone that I've bought from an FFL. I don't have anything from private transactions, but I've only got two.
My insurance adjuster's thing was that if you have a fire, the receipts are going to be gone too. So
yeah, and that's just it. I keep them in the same safe. So, but I do have scanned images, and I do have those in different locations where I could dig them up. And eventually, what I need to do is edit all these pictures and put them in with the same files. That way, I've got that. But here's the thing: I wouldn't want them, say, my M1 Garand. I wouldn't want them giving me what I paid for it. Heck no, because I won't replace it today.
Right? So yeah, I'm with you there. I would not be willing to accept on either of the two Remingtons I got what I paid for them, because I've got two of the 30-06 semi-autos, the 740 and the 742, and I got them both for well less than $300, and I wouldn't take that for them at all.
Right. My LeMat is double the price to replace today for the same exact gun from the same exact store in Tennessee. So I put today's replacement value down for the insurance as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's the whole damn idea, I think. It's not cost, it's replacement. But it's the rider on the homeowners is definitely the thing to look into because it's by far the cheapest option I could find. Because when I initially did it, I was insuring guns and guitars because I had many thousands of dollars worth of guitar equipment. I mean, way more than I've ever invested in guns. And my homeowner's insurance would have covered $1,000 for all of it. You know, it's under some sort of entertainment clause in the homeowner's policy, and if everything is destroyed, they give you $1,000 for all the gear, amps, video games, TVs, all that shit. $1,000. Like,
Yeah,
no.
and I mean, it's a good wake up call, because what I did was I increased my renter's insurance overall, because I mean, if you just look at clothes for 4 people, that's a lot of money. It'll never come close to touching all my hand tools. There's no way it would replace it. We would replace all the tools, and then we wouldn't have money left to buy a shirt on our back or a TV or a computer or anything else like that. So
Yeah, people, just think about this for just a damn second.
Yeah.
A pair of fucking Levi's 501s costs $40 to $50.
Yep.
One
Times
pair.
5 pairs per person, times 4 people in the house, and before you know it. Yeah. So don't just look at your TV and your fridge when you're doing your homeowners or your renters policy.
Granted, you could go to Walmart and buy Wrestlers or whatever brand they sell, which I wore them for years until I found how much more comfortable Levi's are. But all this stuff costs money, and the
Yeah.
insurance is going to do their best to not give you any more than they just have to. So,
Exactly.
So would it be
you
a
really want to go and protect yourself with Ryder on stuff that's not normal household items, be it firearms, be it other stuff that you collect. And I suppose this ties into security just fine. I mean, in the event the worst happens, you still need to be able to protect yourself.
Would it be a bad idea to, or bad or a good idea to put, like, basically make a list of all the ammunition you have too, and how much you paid for that?
You know, I look at my ammunition the way I look at my tools. There's no way they're ever going to replace all of that. Oh boy, I don't know what. Okay,
I think-
inventory my guns was a pain in the ass. If I had to inventory my ammo, I'd go stir crazy.
I inventory my ammo already. So it's just some of the ADD in my head. I have to keep track. But you're going to eat the ammo. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not going to cover that.
I mean,
Each and
the
every
only
time you're gonna have to eat the ammo.
Well, look, I look at it like a consumable item, like
Exactly.
food almost. But I will say this: there is some ammo I have that I will never shoot. It's for collecting, and maybe I should take that out of the can and put it in the safe, even though there's still no guarantee that it'll protect it. It's got a higher level of protection, or just buy another safe. I mean, it's a good excuse, but there is some that I have for collecting, and I could find it if I searched around long enough online or at a show. But I can tell you that I've gone to some of these shows and seen what some of these guys want for ammo, and something that is worth $30, they'll easily charge $90 for, because they've got it right there in front of you. So I don't know that I could ever get replacement value on any of the collector ammo. I'd have to just write it off like my tools.
The thing is it's a good idea to inventory everything, because the bigger list you hand your insurance company in the event the worst happens, the more you should be able to get up to the limits of your coverage.
Well, what I thought was weird was for the Ryder, they wanted an inventory of all the firearms, and I'm thinking it was more for theft reasons. For the rest of the house, they didn't want to know how many flat screen TVs we had, or how many computers, or how many Xboxes, or how many couches, or
Because they're just going to give you a flat number.
Yeah, probably. Now, I will say this: I don't know what would happen with an insurance claim if your firearm was stolen, and they paid you a claim on it, and then 2 years later, your firearm was recovered.
They would own it.
The insurance company would own it?
I mean,
Okay. All right.
they've paid you for it, so it's their property at that point. It's just like if you wreck your car, they pay it off. They own the car.
Yeah, that's true. When I totaled my motorcycle, they said you can keep it for $600. We'll take $600 off the claim on the total if you want to strip it for parts or attempt to cut and weld the frame and salvage it. Or you can get $600 more on your claim when we total out. So yeah, I guess they would do it like that. Okay.
Yeah, probably similar. But but the issue is if it's like an heirloom gun, like something that your grandfather gave you or your father gave you, if it's something like that, how would you go through, you know, the routes of getting it back from the insurance company?
The same. Yeah, you offer to buy it.
All
You know,
right.
you may have, if you own it and they've paid your claim and it turns up and you offer to give them their money back, I'm pretty sure they have to give it to you.
They're not interested in
Sell it to
keeping
you.
a firearm. They'd rather get the money.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they would rather not lose that money.
So what they did with my bike was I took it down to a salvage yard up in Flint, Michigan, where they had tons of cars and motorcycles and stuff. All these insurance claims from totals were getting dropped off there. And then the salvage yard auctioned them off. And these places picked them for parts. About a week later, I saw my fuel tank on a website for a place 1 county over that must have bought parts and stuff like that. So they're going to get salvage value, almost like a repossession. They're not going to get what the thing's worth. They're not going to get what the person owes, whatever it is. They're going to get salvage value, and it trickles down from there. So if they were to keep the firearm and I guess sell it or destroy it for scrap metal, they won't get anything near what this. So if you give them their claim back, it's a win-win for them. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've pretty much run this one into the ground today. I know we're not doing the whole full hour thing
Coward.
this weekend, but I think we had a good conversation.
We just
what,
want
do
to
you
go
have
back
to?
again.
Yeah, next week, what do you got to run off and get a donut with coconut sprinkles?
Ha, man.
No, with chocolate sprinkles and coconut.
I don't know why anybody would want to fuck up a perfectly good donut.
Just to be able to take a picture and post it.
And trigger Matt.
Matt.
I'm waiting to post my picture. I've been having some issues with gun channels.
Well, I think that's
Same
really
here.
your internet connection.
No, it ain't.
I call it
can't post it.
coconut sprinkles at sunrise.
Coconut sprinkles at sunrise. There we go.
I haven't
All
been
right,
able
We
to
should
post
just have
on
a whole photo
gun
list.
channels. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We should just have a whole photo list of just a bunch of donuts with coconut and sprinkles on it, and tag Matt in it.
Well, I also have to go get some Kofifi.
Wait, Nice Ray, actually, can I screen share?
Yeah. If you want, go ahead. I mean,
okay.
we got
Here,
time.
let me try to screen share
We
this.
got
Hold on just a second.
I'm not in any hurry.
Well, you can leave and leave the damn thing running too.
I could, but this is not an early watch. Squib, are you screen sharing?
Not yet. I still see.
Hold on. Okay.
Who is that? Josie Wales.
That's my little. That's who I think I am. Everybody thinks they're John Wick. I think I'm Josie Wells. We all got issues.
I'll go with John.
No,
Wayne.
I think I'm Duke Nukem.
Okay, here. Can you see this?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we when we were down in Florida, I met Raphael. But while we were at Disney, we also ran into Smeggy. So there's a Smeggy sighting at Disney World. So
When he gets around.
He made it.
Unfortunately, I have about a 3-foot tall version of that sumbitch here.
so you've got your own Smeggy action figure.
Yes. Well, I don't have it. My granddaughter does, but regardless. And
Okay.
it pops out multicolored lights too when you walk into it at night. Lucky
Does it have a
it's shot.
CC?
No.
See, the action figure's not complete without a CC.
Shit, I can't afford a CZ. I'll be damned if I buy a freaking blow up doll or whatever the hell that thing is. CZ.
All right, so I was hoping for sprinkles, and I got a Smeggy sighting.
No, I'll post the sprinkles picture some other time. It's
Okay.
buried somewhere.
All right. Well, I want to thank my panelists for showing up this morning. AWAG
Thank you for the invite. Sorry I was late.
and Travis M, otherwise known as Midnight Range TM, because he had to change his name because he's that kind of guy.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. If you, I actually posted a video last night. If you want to learn Scotch, it was pretty cool. I was bored at the restaurant.
Oh,
Check
okay.
it out, and you'll see.
You
you'll
broke
see
up.
why.
So if we want to learn how to make what?
You want to learn how to make a real nice butterscotch. I was doing it at the restaurant last night, and I just uploaded a video for fun. And it was at like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's why it's Midnight Range.
Nice.
Thanks Squib for jumping in halfway through.
Yeah, I'm not sorry I'm late.
Well, that's okay. And I want to thank Tony for being here on time again. Thank you, Tony, for being here on time and showing up.
Well, hell, if I knew we was just doing a little commercial, I wouldn't have bothered, but you're welcome.
Oh, yeah. Also, Tony, I finally got that Alliant 2400 powder. So I'm going to do up some 44 Special Plus P Plus loads with it to test out. And Travis said he's doing a show on knives next Saturday.
Hey, I got a...
Travis is doing knives next Saturday, so that's what we'll talk about.
I got some loading information for that if you want it.
Yeah, send it over to me. I found one recipe online that I want to try out. It's a 44 Special Plus P Plus. So I've been looking all over. I was tearing Florida apart looking for this 2400. Everybody's out of stock. And then for S&Gs, I checked the local Bass Pro online, and it said low stock. Low stock don't mean no stock. Sure enough, they actually had it. So, and I was trying to look for a substitute for 2400 as well, but I didn't know what to use in place of it. So,
nice.
But yeah, if you could message me over anything on that, that would be helpful.
So when you're talking about Plus P Plus, how close are you to 44 mag power at that?
I don't know. I don't have a chrono. One of these days I'll get off my lazy butt and get one of those. But I stumbled on it by mistake.
Should be.
All right. So before they go down the reloading rabbit hole, I'm gonna call it. So thank you all for listening. I want to thank Patrick for showing up on the Gun Channel side and watching and commenting. I want to thank our YouTube folk over there too. We had Water Gunner showed up. We had well, I'm not going to say that you were in the chat. Grim90 showed up. Even Rock Humper and Hobby Master D showed up. Sean Callahan showed up. Doug D showed up. And Scott Poccini showed up. We had a rogue sighting of Travis P11 out there in the chat as well. And oh wait, last but certainly not least, New Throne Clay was out there, and John Z is late to the party and just got here. Well, John, you'll have to watch the recap.
Hey, I posted a link for a page in the side chat here, so
yeah,
you
thanks,
can find
Tony.
information there.
I snagged it real quick before this closed out. Thanks.
All right. So thank you all for listening. This was Caliber Corner.